Choosing a stud is a very important decision, and it completely controls the path that your breeding program's going in. So if you're choosing a stud for the first time, you're definitely gonna wanna hear this. And if you're already an advanced breeder, you're still gonna wanna hear this, because I'm gonna share with you some really valuable tips that might change the direction of your breeding program. I recently had a client come here to the Bulldog farm for a breeding, and I asked them, what was it that made them choose their stud? What were you looking for in a stud when you decided to look for a stud?
So to be honest with you, it was you at first. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
She can tell you that. And then how knowledgeable you were.
Okay.
My thing is that by me going into the first time, I needed somebody that really knew what they were doing.
Now that's a smart guy. So it's very important in dog breeding to do everything as correct as possible as you can. Because at the end of the day, it's still a gamble. You can do everything the right way in dog breeding and still not get the desired outcome you're looking for. Things still won't go the way you thought they were. So it is so important to do everything as correctly as possible to increase your odds of getting that desired outcome you're looking for. And that's the first question you gotta ask yourself, is what are you trying to get out of your breeding? What are you trying to create? What's your end game? What is it that you want from the breeding? Are you looking to produce certain colors? Are you looking to produce Isabellas, new shade Isabellas? Are you looking to produce a certain coat pattern like Merle or tricolors? Are you looking to produce just thick, compact, small, gorilla structured little Frenchies, regardless of the color? Are you looking to create fluffy Frenchies or hairless Frenchies or velvet Frenchies or any of these other crazy coat lengths or coat types? What is your end goal in your breeding? I will say that health and structure should always come before color. And let me give you a scenario that makes it really simple to understand that. I would much rather have a great mechanically sound, great working car that has a bad paint job on it, other than having that broken down, ugly looking car that's got the best paint job in the world on it. Does that kind of make sense to you? So health and structure is always going to be the most important, and it's going to be what sells. You're not going to be selling to other breeders in the beginning of your career. And that's something that people get messed up on a lot. Selling to other breeders does not put you at the top. The true top is if you're selling 6-figure dogs to other breeders, or you're selling 5-figure dogs as pet registration. When you start out breeding, you're just gonna be selling pets. You might have somebody else that's getting into breeding that you might end up selling a dog with full rights, but more than likely, you're gonna be selling pets. And I'm gonna tell you, pet owners don't really care too much about the crazy colors or the crazy fads and all that stuff. So don't waste your time chasing all those new DNA, new fads, if it's not truly what you wanna create. If that's what you wanna create, go for it. Do whatever you want. But don't assume that's where the money's gonna be at or that's what people are gonna be buying, because it's just not true. Pied and Brindle get such a bad rap, but guess what? Pet owners love Pied and Brindle dogs. And I've sold Brindle dogs for more money than I've sold a new shade Isabella Merle. So don't get caught up on these new fads. Figure out what it is you want to produce and then work towards that. If it's introducing new DNA, then you're gonna wanna find a stud that carries that DNA. If you wanna create a certain color, you need to know what colors your female carries, and you're gonna wanna find a stud that also carries those colors so you can create those colors. If you're solely focused, or your main focus, as it should be, is on the structure of the dog, then that is the most important thing you should take into account when choosing a stud if you're already a seasoned breeder. It should be the structure. You should want to get a dog that's going to complement the structure type of your dog and produce the structure type that you're looking to produce. Now, if you are a new breeder, it makes sense to do what my man here did. Choose somebody who knows what they're doing, that's gonna walk you through the process and mentor you through the process. And to be honest with you, I don't know anyone else that's doing it. I've never had a stud owner ask me about my PG numbers and try to help me accurately find that window of insemination that's gonna give us the best odds at the breeding taken. I've never had anyone do that for me, but that is a service I offer to my clients. So if it's your first time breeding, you're gonna wanna find somebody like me that's gonna help you and walk you through that breeding. And hopefully I have a dog that complements your female. And just knowing how to look at a dog is a complicated thing in itself. The first few years I started breeding, like on year 2, I would look at dogs that I liked on year 1 and I'm like, what? How did I even like that dog? How did I not see that? And then on year 3, I'm looking back to year 2, like how did I not see that on those dogs when I thought I learned my lesson? And then on year 4, I'm looking back at dogs from year 3 and I'm like, I didn't see that? I thought I knew it all and I already realized you have to really look at these dogs, and how did I not see that dog looked like that? How did I not notice that feature? Like, I'm telling you, just knowing how to properly look at a dog is an art in itself. And if you want more in-depth information on how these dogs should look according to breed standards, not that you need a breed to standards, you may have your own type that you want to breed towards. It's best to know the breed standard. It's best to know what characteristics, attributes are healthy ones or are going to be bad on their health, like pinched nares, bad hips. You're going to want to know these things to look for that are going to be deal breakers, that should be deal breakers. Because again, it doesn't matter how good that dog looks, doesn't matter how good that car looks, if it's broke down on the side of the road, if it doesn't work. So if it's not a functional dog, if it's an unhealthy dog, no one wants that. At the end of the day, we're breeding these dogs to be our pets, our companions. Even if it's part of your breeding program, it's still your pet, it's still your companion, it's still a living animal. So we should always be breeding these dogs for the best health characteristics as possible. We just launched the Advanced Breeders Network Instagram. I'm posting daily content on there, and I invite you to check out the Advanced Breeders Network when you're done watching this video. The link's in the description. And if you don't think having a mentor or having somebody like me to guide you through your breeding, when breeding for the first time, is that important? Check this out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate you for all the help and the tips.
I feel good about the numbers, and you can say she was much more fertile today. Today was the most fertile. And today what, Wednesday? What those fuckers are telling me to breed on Saturday or something?
Yeah.
No, they want us to breed
Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
Snow, but she right. When we did it on Saturday,
The first
that day, remember?
Oh, well, she did.
Yeah.
when you tested on Thursday,
Yeah.
they said she'd be ready to what, to breed that day or tomorrow, or no later than Monday. They said the breeder. And here it is Wednesday. She was the most fertile. Yeah. Because I mean, I can tell when I go it's open up more.
Now I'm sorry, I know the audio was horrible in here. I wanted to catch all this content off the cuff and let you see that it was true, real situations. I didn't tell them to say anything. Their clinic was telling them that this dog needed to get bred on Saturday and at the latest on Monday. We ended up doing 2 breedings. We did a breeding on Monday and we did a breeding on Wednesday. And that Wednesday breeding is probably the breeding that's gonna take. And this shows you, even if you have a clinic that you think is gonna help you out, you think, I don't need some breeder to help me out with this breeding, the professionals at the clinic are gonna help me out. That's not how it goes down. Unfortunately, these veterinarians, especially general practice veterinarians, are not that knowledgeable on reproduction. And the scary part is they will never tell you that. What they will do is they will overcharge you so that you don't go there, That's why certain general practice vets will tell you $3,000, $4,000 for a C-section because they don't want to do it because they're not good at it. So they try to overprice you so you go somewhere else. Or they're just going to look you in your eyes and tell you anything. And you have no choice but to believe it because they're a medical professional. So you assume that their advice is accurate when unfortunately, most of the reproductive advice given by veterinarians is inaccurate, extremely inaccurate. Hopefully you do find a good reproductive clinic that you like and is knowledgeable, but it's very rare that that happens. I've had this happen many times, many times, at least 3 I can think of right off the cuff right now, where I've had clients testing with their clinic, and their clinic is giving them horrible advice, telling them when they should breed, telling them they should breed their dog before the dog hasn't even ovulated yet. That's basic breeding knowledge. You want to find ovulation, and then you're going to want to do your breedings typically 2 to 3 days after ovulation. But that's a whole nother episode. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you've been learning something, and we'll get into that on another episode. But yes, having somebody to mentor you through the breeding process is very important, because even this breeding here probably wouldn't have happened if they would have listened to the clinic. The clinic would have had them at my house 5 days ago, 5 days before this breeding ever happened. So this is the kind of horrible information that clinics are constantly giving out. And I'm gonna do another episode solely on this topic right here. So again, make sure you're subscribed. Now, if you are a seasoned breeder, it still makes a huge difference in what stud owner you choose. I've 100% reached out to a stud owner because I liked their dog, and that was the dog, the #1 dog on my list that I wanted to breed to. And after our conversation, I decided I'm out. I'm not messing with this guy. He has phenomenal dogs, but I just don't like what he's saying. He's being deceptive. He's giving me attitude. You just get a bad feeling. I've done that. So honestly, in my opinion, when choosing a stud, it's 60% the stud dog and 40% the stud owner. I truly do think that the stud owner is that important. At least when I'm making my decision, the stud owner is about 40% of the decision. And why is that? It's because there's so many variables that the stud owner is in control of. If you're out of town, if you're not flying into town, if it's not local, if you're not pulling up for a live breeding, you're gonna need that semen shipped to you. Is that stud owner capable of shipping semen? Not only is he capable, but is he knowledgeable? Does he know how to do the process correctly to make sure you receive that semen with a high motility rate and gives you the best chance at your girl taking? Because there's a lot that goes into that process. You know, the semen has to be the same temperature as the extender when it's mixed in, otherwise it can get shocked. They have to have an extender. They have to know how to use extender. They have to know how to ship it, how to package it properly. They have to be able to do all that on your timeline when you're ready, when your girl's ready, and get it to you. So if you're questioning if that stud owner is capable of doing those things, you probably don't want to go with them. Also, if you just get a bad vibe from them, like they just seem sketchy or you've heard bad things about them, even though they got that amazing dog, I'm telling you, you're not going to want to go through with it. You're still going to have to get that litter registered. There's a million different scenarios that could happen with your girl not taking and needing a rebreed. Are they going to uphold their end of the bargain? Are they going to give you that rebreed, or are they going to just say, whatever, they got your money, it's on you now? So a stud owner is a really important part of the decision. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask for pictures, ask for videos, ask for pedigree, ask to see the parents or the mom. And you don't always have to do this. Let me put that clear too. Because sometimes it gets annoying when you get these clients that are asking all these questions and like, I don't even feel like they know why they're asking them. You don't always have to ask these questions unless you know why you're asking them. I've done breedings where I probably only saw 3, 4, 5, 6 posted pictures, but guess what? In those pictures, I was able to see everything I needed, and I was able to get all the information I needed on that dog. Tail, face, bite, back, bone. I was able to see the features I needed to see to make that decision. So I didn't need to drive this stud owner crazy asking them for all this stuff, and the mom and the dad and the blah, 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 blah. Also, when you know the blood. If you're doing a breeding to a stud because of the blood, you already know kind of what's behind that dog. So again, you don't have to ask all those questions. But don't be afraid to. Tell them, I want a 360 view. I want to see a picture of that dog all the way around. Does it have a tail? I want to see the tail. What's its rears look like? Show me the bite? What's the bite look like? Can I see the mom? Can I see the dad? Can I see the pedigree? What's the DNA? Can you show me the DNA? And if they don't want to do any of those things, that's a major red flag. Here's one for you. I remember asking a stud owner, how much does the dog weigh? Just because in pictures, it's so hard to get an idea of how big these dogs are sometimes. All the time, actually. And it doesn't mean that I'm afraid. It doesn't mean I have a number in my head that if he says this number, I'm not breeding to the dog. But I've asked, how much does that dog weigh? Just so I can get a better idea of how big that dog is. And I've had stud owners tell me, I don't know how much my dog weighs. You don't know how much your dog weighs? Come on now. Shit like that's a red flag. Any kind of deception, any kind of I don't know, or you ask for a pedigree and they don't want to show you, that's a red flag. Just stay away, I'm telling you. You're gonna regret it. I'll say this, sometimes it's not what they tell you, it's what they don't tell you. Think about it like this. If you're proud of that dog, when a stud owner is proud of their dog, they show you everything. They're gonna be showing you videos, they're gonna show you how long that back is, they're gonna show you how short he is, they're gonna show you how small he is, they're gonna show you all the bloodline behind him, his mom, his dad. When a stud owner is proud of something, they show you everything. So look out for what they don't show you. It's what they don't show you that tells you the most. If they're not showing you something, there's a reason. And if you ask to see that, and they're being deceptive about it, that's a huge red flag. Health testing. So this is a topic that's very misunderstood in the dog industry. A lot of these genetic disorders that are on these panels with these labs don't even affect some of these breeds. You got to remember, these labs are private companies that are looking to make money. And most of them are recessive, meaning they need to have 2 copies for it to affect the dog. That doesn't mean you want to breed carriers, but it does mean that it's okay to do in certain situations if done properly. So let's say you have a female in your program that really fits the structure type that you're trying to build, but she comes up with a copy of one of these genetic disorders. Of course, make sure it's one that is only recessive, which most of them are. And then what you have to do is make sure whoever you breed her to doesn't carry any copies of that genetic disorder. So you can breed her to a non-carrier. Then you're gonna have to DNA all those pups. You're gonna make sure you pet home any of the pups that do carry, and then you're gonna retire your girl so that it doesn't go any farther. Hopefully you'll get your offspring from that litter that doesn't carry, and you can go on continuing to try to develop that structure type that you're going for. And this is something that gets overlooked a lot with selective breeding. When people are breeding just for type, they seem to overlook the health, but we can't overlook the health. That would just be very irresponsible. You should never have a stud dog that carries a copy. If you have a stud dog that carries a copy of one of these disorders, that's kind of irresponsible because you're breeding to so many different dogs. You don't know if those people are testing their dogs. So they might bring you an unhealth tested dog that carries the same thing your stud carries. Now you're producing puppies that have 2 copies and will be affected. So that's very irresponsible. So studs should not carry any copies of health disorders. All your dogs shouldn't carry any copies of health disorders. So don't try to manipulate what I'm saying. I'm just trying to put out the point that if you have a female that is a carrier, it's not game over. It just means you need to make some very responsible decisions moving forward, like testing all those puppies, making sure any puppies that are carriers go to pet homes, and then retiring that mom. So the best advice I can tell you when choosing your next stud is if you're a novice breeder, if you're a beginning breeder, if you're choosing a stud for the first time, you probably need to reach out to me. Hopefully I have a dog that complements your female. If not, you're gonna wanna find somebody else who's gonna give you the same mentorship that I would give you and walk you through the process. If you are already a seasoned breeder, find that dog, find the dogs, find a dog. Hold on, find a dog, find dogs. Let me touch on that real quick. Whenever I do choose a stud, it's best to choose a stud and a backup stud, if not 2 backup studs, and a local backup stud. So, you don't want to choose just one stud and be all set on that stud, because you might get a curveball thrown when it comes time to breed. You might go to breed to that dog and they tell you, sorry, I have another breeding that locked in earlier than you, and I have to honor that breeding, so I'm not available now. And now, it's all about a timeline, remember? Your girl's ready. We have to breed these girls when they're at peak fertilization. So now you're gonna be scrambling to find a stud, unless you had a backup stud. And now you can shift, reach out to that other stud, and hopefully you can line that out. Now, if you're using shipped semen, it's best to have a local backup stud also. You can have a backup stud, another shipped backup stud, but I recommend also having a local option ready. Something that's in your head that if this goes wrong, I'm gonna go ahead and hit them up and we're gonna go ahead and make this breeding happen with them. And what I mean by go wrong is like if the breeding falls on like a Sunday or a Monday where you can't get semen sent to you. Hopefully they have a same-day shipping account. A lot of stud owners can do same-day shipping for you, so you can still get samples on a Sunday. I've done that plenty of times. But sometimes things like that happen, and now you can't get the semen to you, so you're gonna need that local option. So it's always best to have a local to have a backup stud and to have a local backup stud. Once you do choose that stud that you are set on, that you wanna use, it is best to lock in. And I just gave you a good reason why. Because I've had this happen to me, where I went to use a stud that I had already locked in, but I had just locked it in probably like a couple weeks ago, right as my girl was like coming into heat. I think I locked it in. And now it came time to do the breeding, and he said, I'm sorry, but I can't. I have another client that I have to give A1 service to because they locked him in earlier. So that screwed me out of that. So locking in is not, people think locking in is a scam. I will say, I don't lock in super early. I like to kind of wait. You gotta walk the line. You don't wanna lock in a stud so early that you end up finding another dog that you would rather breed to instead in that amount of time. But you do want to lock it in early enough so that you have priority when it does come time to do your breeding. Also, with locking in, sometimes you can take advantage of discounted rates, intro rates, or just lower level rates before that dog goes up in price. So that's the other reason you want to lock in. So what do you think so far? Locking in a stud is a little more complicated of a decision than you thought, huh? Well, I hope this information helped you out. If you're a novice, beginner breeder, reach out to me. I'd love to help you out. If you're a seasoned breeder, remember them tips I just gave you. Ask them questions. Ask anything that's on your mind. Ask all them questions, get them pictures, get them videos. Because trust me, you might end up breeding to a dog that you wouldn't even recognize in person. It does happen. I'm telling you, some of these guys are great at marketing these dogs, and if you walked up on that dog in person, you wouldn't even think it's the same dog that's in them videos. Is that the kind of stud owner you want to go with? Someone who's purposely trying to deceive you in the product that they're presenting to you? Probably not, because what's going to happen when you need a rebreed? How do you know they even sent you semen from that dog? How do you know they sent you quality semen from that dog? There's a lot that goes into choosing a stud. So start doing your research, find a stud you like, ask them questions, get that information, get a feel of the stud owner, make sure you feel there's a good relationship between you and him and you're not going to have any issues when issues come up, because as we know in dog breeding, issues always come up. So good luck. See you guys next time.